Yeah. Like, I think that's why I know that I can't just do a lazy girl job. It has to be, it's like,
Well, this is, back where we started. You need to do a lazy girl job, but that is going to require work on your part to be able to do a lazy girl job because you've never
yeah,
done that before. You have never done that before. That
yeah.
strikes you as alien and lazy. You're very judgmental about that, okay? So you just need to do the damn job
Hmm.
and not
Yeah,
all the other stuff, okay?
yeah.
Stop thinking of it as lazy girl job. Just think of it as job, okay? Because I mean, you really are, as much as we're joking about this, you really are putting a lot of, moral issues onto this description.
Hmm.
Okay, a job is a job. And, I was talking with one of my friends and colleagues this weekend and basically caught up on all of these things that happened in his career since my husband got sick because he stopped sharing that information, because I had my own stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
So I had all of this stuff that I had maybe heard a word or two about, but certainly had not held in my brain and we had not discussed.
Hmm.
And I mean, first of all, I felt super good about leaving academia. That was that was a really good decision, even though there's a part of me that's like, well, I would have a steady job and good benefits. There's always a part of me that's like, I don't know what you were thinking, Celia. You had a steady job and good benefits. So this made it clear, yes, and you would have gone completely insane. You know, absolutely lost it. There's no way that you could have stayed.
Quality of life.
Yeah, yeah. So, and part of that is because I never learned the boundaries to do the job and treat it as a job. I
Hmm.
treated it as a vocation, as a calling, and that meant that I was on call for my students and that I was on call for my research all the time.
Yeah,
And God, even administrative stuff, which, ugh, yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I didn't have the boundaries, which is, this is what causes burnout. I
Hmm.
mean, and burnout is a systemic problem created, is a structural problem created by jobs and careers that are structured poorly in a culture that values overwork.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm not saying it's your personal fault, but the only thing we can do before we are in positions of power, and dismantle that system, the only thing we can do is set our own boundaries. And that's what
Hmm.
this whole lazy girl job thing is about.
Yeah.
It's about
Yep.
setting the boundaries and saying I am going to do the job that is listed on my job description and I will be paid for that. And
Hmm.
giving 110% of myself is bullshit. First of
Yeah.
all, they don't need 100% of myself because I need myself too,
Right.
and my family does, and all of those other things. They don't need that much from me. They need 40 hours a week or whatever I'm contracted to do.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing, our responsibility is to set those boundaries and stick with them.
Hmm.
And somehow I have a feeling, especially if I put this part on YouTube, that people are going to write in with, that's a position of privilege, blah, 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 blah. It is a position of privilege. Of course it is. You have to
Yeah.
eat. I understand that. But once we're past the, weighing the rice by gram and counting the beans stage, oh, okay, that was a lot.
Was that
What?
me?
No, no. That was somebody who's going to see this on YouTube. Uh, Once we're past that stage, it is your responsibility to set those boundaries and to protect yourself. And then when you are in a position of power or even more power than you have now, even if it's just a little bit of power, then you can start to dismantle the system and take away this idea, this culture of overwork being good
Mhm.
that we have in North America.
Yeah. I mean, that's what appealed to me about the lazy girl job was the boundaries. Like
Mhm.
I do my job from this hour to this hour, and then I go home,
Yeah.
and I don't take it with me. The work is stays there, and that's why I'm going this direction because for some reason design came home with me,
Yeah.
or any other job I've had it comes home with me. So yeah, I like the idea of doing that intentions setting at the end of the day to just kind of like close the door and I'm
Hmm.
going home.
Yes. And then you can come in the morning and say, does this make sense for my day? Yes, it does. Let's do that. Or
Mhm.
no, it doesn't. What do I need to do instead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That, not getting emotionally invested in your productivity in this late late capitalist society is a challenge. It's hard for us because we have been raised that to do otherwise makes us unworthy, makes us not good producers. We might as well be communists who just stay home and receive a wage, which is not how communism worked actually, but certainly what we were taught. I'm enough older than you may not have been taught this, and you're also not from Texas, but certainly what we were taught when I was a kid, that the communists don't
Wow.
actually have to do work. Everybody's paid the same. And of course they had to do work and they didn't get to choose the work. That was the big problem. They didn't have hardly any choice in the work. But were they better at emotionally disconnecting than us? Yes, because they knew there was no point,
Hmm.
you know. So let's get to the ability to not be deeply invested in our souls, in what our work is, in what our job is, without, losing hope for your future and
Yeah.
all of those things that communism engendered.